Hello, I'm going to show you how to take your photos in the Photos app for Apple and import them into your Lightroom account. And once they're in your Photoshop Lightroom or Adobe Photoshop Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom as it's also sometimes called, once it's in Lightroom, then I'm going to show you how to put them onto your Google site, okay, for this assignment. So let's go into our Photos app. If you don't know where your Photos app is, you can search for it, Photos. And once you're in your Photos app, you might have different categories in here. So you want to put your library like this, okay? Find your photos that you want to pick. So I'm going to select this photo right here and I'm going to import this. So I'm going to right click on the image and I'll see something like this. And then I'm going to select Edit With. And if you never done this before, you want to select Other. When you select Other, you're going to see all your apps open up. You're in the applications. And so you want to find Adobe Lightroom Classic or whatever app you're trying to put it into. But we're trying to put it into Adobe Lightroom Classic. So we're going to click on the folder. That's the folder. And then we're going to click on the actual application, Adobe Lightroom Classic. Open it up. And once it goes into Lightroom, it might take a while for Lightroom to open if it's not open right now. You might see something that asks for permission. You want to allow it. Do not select Don't Allow. Select Allow. Once you have it, it's selected, you want to select Import. That's very important. It will not go into Lightroom until you select or click on Import. Once it comes into the library, you can make this picture bigger, smaller, but at this point, we want to have it selected and go into the Develop module. Develop. Once you're in the Develop module, you want to actually start the process of exporting it, okay? So we want to export 4 different versions. We're going to be going through temp, tint, exposure, contrast, highlights, all of these 13 right here. Actually, we might also add black and white, that would be 14. But for now, we're going to start with temp, okay? So with that being selected, there's a lot of arrows on Lightroom. You can see all the different arrows here. And we want to open up this arrow once we're in the Develop module. It's also important maybe to have this top one open so you can see where you are, which module you're in. We're in Develop. So with that being said, let us export this. So Lightroom does not create permanent applications. It just shows an image of what it could be, and then it's up to you to export it and create that image. So now we haven't done anything to the image itself. It's just the original. So we're going to right click. Once we right click, we're going to see this come up, and we're going to come down to export, and then we're going to go to export again, and we're going to select that. And now in here, it probably starts off with desktop, okay? So I'm just going to try to start it off the way it might look like. So what we want to do is change this desktop to specific folder. Select specific folder. Then we're going to choose our folder that we're going to put it into. So we're going to go choose, downloads. So there's different folders going to be, and we want downloads, and we're going to create a folder for this project. This is a Lightroom project, so we're going to select new folder. We're going to select Lightroom, create that new folder. So now within downloads, we created Lightroom, and we're going to choose this folder. Select choose. So now you can see it. My name downloads Lightroom. However, since we're going to be creating all these different photos in here, let's put it in a subfolder. Let's call the first one temp. T-E-M-P. Okay. Then we're going to slide down here. If it says 60%, that's fine. These are small pictures. We don't need big pictures. We're going to make sure we select resize to fit. It probably is on width and height. Change that width and height to long edge right there. And change it from 1000 to 800. We're trying to make the pictures smaller. Okay. Maybe we don't even need 800. We can even make it, let's just make it 600 since we don't need a big picture. We can always come back in here and make a big picture. Change that to 600. And then we're going to export. So we exported an original. Okay, that's where it is. Now for this assignment, we're going to go all the way over to temp. This is if you're doing this assignment where we're going to be going through all these different, we're going to change that to temp. Change that temp rather to blue all the way to the left. Then we're going to go, this time we're going to right click again, export, and instead of going back to export, we already have the settings. We can already put it back into that folder that's for temp by going export with previous. But we don't want to overwrite the first one. That's the original. We need that original. So let's use unique names, and it'll create a new photo. Now this time, that's our second photo we exported. Let's go all the way to the right to make it more yellow or warm. Right click, export, export with previous. Now we're going to use unique names again. That's our third photo we created. And now for this fourth photo, we're just going to put it wherever to me looks the most natural. And I don't know, I think something like that looks most natural to me. So I'm going to go right click, export, export with previous. Use unique names. So now there should be 4 photos in downloads, Lightroom, in a subfolder for temp. So I can find that, and I'm going to go to downloads, Lightroom, temp, and there they are. And make sure that you have the way that you're looking at is on the list. That's the best way. But notice they're not in the right order. 2, 3, 4, and then that first one is that. That's the one. So I'm going to go up here to date modified, and I'm going to click on that enough times until I see the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one, and then click down here. I want to make sure it starts in the right order because in my mind, I exported the original, then blue, then yellow, and then that perfect one, whatever I thought was perfect. So with that being said, I'm going to just leave that there. I'm going to go into my Google account, and I'm going to look for Google Sites. I'm going to search up Google Sites. You can also try to find it up here in your little Google apps, but let's just search up Google Sites. And then I found Google Sites. I'm going to sign in, and I'm going to change the account so that it's my school account. And I'm going to create a new website if I don't have one. If I have one already, I'm just going to click on it already, my portfolio. But if I don't have one, I'm going to click on blank. So with this, let's first label it. This is going to be our portfolio if we haven't created a portfolio yet. So I'm going to go portfolio. I'm going to put in my name up here. And then right here, I'm going to put portfolio. Okay, and this is where I put my portfolio images. So if you already have one, we're not going to create the Lightroom project on the front. We're going to go to Pages. Select Pages. And we're going to select this little plus down here. And we're going to call this Lightroom. So now this is our Lightroom page. I can now click on my Finder right here, find those pictures in temp. Now again, if they're not in the right order, I can change them by clicking on Date Modified. If it's on the wrong version, I can go to List so that it's on the right one. I'm going to click down here. I'm going to click and then drag up, and it should highlight all of them. Okay? So then I'm going to drag this over here like this, and it will put them all like that. Now, I also need to insert in these pictures a text box. I'm going to drag this up. Notice there's little dots there. I'm going to drag this up. I'm going to call it what were we working on? It was temp. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to select, instead of normal text, I'm going to go to heading. I'm going to call this temp. That's the section. If I want to, I can change the color over here. I can change the style right there. I can change it even to an image. So that, if I want some red color, I can select that. But for now, I'm just going to go to the normal style. Each picture, I'm going to select the little 3 dots and I'm going to go add caption. This first one was original. The second one was blue, but we can also call it what? Cool. If you know the word cool you use for in art to make something more blue, right? Add caption on this one. We're going to call this yellow. We can also refer to it as warm. And then this last one was my interpretation of what I thought was perfect, right? The perfect temp. Okay, so we did that. Now, if I want to, I can now go right into the next thing. Now, I'm going to need another photo. So I'm going to go into my Photos app, and I'm going to find another photo to do for this second one. So I'm going to go right click on it, edit with. This time it's already there, Adobe Lightroom Classic, because I have used this to import already to Adobe. So I can just click that. That's easy. It's going to then go to my importing screen, and I'm going to select import. Now that I have the photo in here, it's selected. I can go to develop module, and now I can go to tint. So this time I would go right click, export, export, and instead of temp, I'm going to call this tint, and it's still going to go to Lightroom. All the other controls are fine, whatever I put in there. Export. Now this time I can go all the way to the green side. Export, export with previous, because now I created a different folder. Use unique name so I don't override it. Go back over here to magenta, all the way over to the right. Export, export with previous. Use unique names. And then this time I'm going to put what looks best to me. I think that looks pretty natural to me. I'm going to go export, export with previous. Use unique name. Now, I went through all of them. So back over here, I can go over here and go to tint. And now I can change the date for tint so that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back over here to my Google site. And this time I'm going to create a text box. It's going to say heading. It's going to be tint. And then under here, I'm going to go to my Finder. I already had that ready to go. I'm going to click under here and drag up as I held down click the left side. And I'm going to go underneath here so I can put it all the way down underneath tint. And then I can go over here, click on each
Lynette
one.
Castillo, Angela Jimenez, Marlene Martinez, and Leilani Ramirez, please report to room 303. That's Lynette Castillo, Angela Jimenez, Marlene Martinez, and Leilani Ramirez, room 303.
Oh, it's a nice little icon. There we go. So select each image, and we're going to add caption. We're going to go original. I'm going to make this one, we're just going to call it green. We're going to call this one magenta. And then we're going to call this one perfect. This is my idea of what a perfect image is. So we're going to do that through all of these. Go down and do the same thing to all of these with a different picture that you've never turned in. And then at the end, when you have this completed, this whole page completed, Lightroom, let me know and I will go over and give it a grade. Also, just for the header type, you can change an image up here too if you want to. You can select an image. I don't know if I got something over here, so if you want to just select any image, you can select an image you might already have. And you can change that header. You can even change it so that it's a large banner, or even you can change it to a cover. You can change it to all kinds of cool things there. Okay? But once you have all of them, let me know and I will give it a grade. But that's how you can take your photos from Photos, put them into Lightroom, and then create a Google site. Hope that